Well, I don't care. My name is Lillian Guzman, and I came up to Mammoth the first time in April 15th, 1923. And we started the garage at Mammoth, and we bought a house that was built originally for a bakery, but the man's wife died, so he lost interest, and so the house had some lumber in it, and that's what we built the first part of the garage with. And we didn't have time to put the roof on until 2 years because he was so busy in the garage.
What was lifestyle like there? What was Mammoth like?
Well, Mammoth had the store up at Mammoth, where the old store on the old road up into Mammoth, and then they had a stable across the street, and then the Mammoth Hotel was up on a little rise up there, and I used to go up there and buy my milk all the time. I'd get 2 quarts for a quarter. And well, let's see, they had groceries in the store, some, but we went to Bishop to do our most of our shopping because it was cheaper, and we had other things to do in Bishop, you know, go around. So I don't know what else.
What about teaching here?
Well, they had, well, when they first started the school, they only had, I think, 1 teacher, and then it grew by leaps and bounds. It just seemed to expand, and they had 2 teachers, and then they went on and they had all the grades, and just a few in each grade until they went up there, and I was feeding 250 kids.
What year was that?
Well, I quit the school when I was 60, and I'm 84. So that's 24 years ago that I quit the school. So
how do you two know each other?
Well, I met her. She came up here. Were you married yet, or just
Max
married?
and I were married in 1931. And we came up on fishing trips every chance we got, and we
met them.
We, of course, the only store there was in garage was right there in that little locality. And then after we were married in 1935, we decided that this would be a lovely place to live. And so we moved up in 1935 in the spring, and that winter we were caretakers of Tamarack Lodge. And they gave us our food and a cabin and 1 bedroom all full of wood, and as I say, all of our food, and $20 a month. And we just thought that was the middle of the Depression, and we thought we were really doing a fine thing. Of course, we had to ski wherever we went because the road wasn't even open into Mammoth in those days from 395. The first snow closed everything. But we stayed in all winter. And then the next year, Max worked on 203, the highway, when Morrison Knudsen was the contractor, and he worked all summer long. And we lived in Mammoth, and then in the fall he went to work for Paul Peak at Crestview on the highway. And then my father passed away, and when the tunnels were over, Shaft 1, Shaft 2, and East Portal and West Portal were up, if anyone remembers, they were putting in the tunnels for the water that came into Crowley. And when they got through with the camp, they in 1939, or 40 rather, they wanted to just auction them off. So we had a friend who was a friend of a friend, as you know how those things go, and we bid on the building, and we got it for $165. And it was 150 feet long and 50 feet and 40 feet wide. And then my husband cut it into 4 sections with 3 hand saws because there was no electricity, and we didn't have an electric saw anyway. And then old Gerd Crawford moved it the 3 sections down to Long Valley, and we called it Nan and Max when we went into business. And the one section, the last section, we sold to Ruth and Tex Cushion, and they have it up there. It was on the creek up in Mammoth.
You couldn't get any better food than at Nan and Max's, I'll tell you that.
So then we opened up in 1941 on New Year's Day, and Pearl Harbor was that December. And so we had to button it up again and wait until after the war. Max went overseas, he was a CB, and I went down and worked at Manzanar all during the war.
What were the winters like back then?
What were what?
The winters like back then?
Oh, the same as now. I think they were heavier, but then I think it was because we...
Here. I think it seemed heavier because we were right in the middle of it. But now, there's nothing.
I think I remember the winters coming earlier than they have lately. I really think the weather has changed a little bit.
Well, my husband used to go deer hunting, and he says no point in going deer hunting until it snows. And deer hunting opened the 15th of September. So that was much earlier than now.
Yeah.
Do you ladies remember like a particular winter, a big storm, what it was
Yes.
like?
1969. Of course, that was lately. What winter do you remember?
Well, I remember that one. They come and took me out. And there was another winter, we decided we'd stay in. And we did. And it was, well, you couldn't go out the doors. We could go out on our back porch, period. I tell you, we had no running water. We had to make water with snow, or when we got a path so we could get down to the stream, then we would get water that was in the creek.
What type of transportation did you use?
Well, we had a car. Let's see, we had a Buick sedan, and we had Chevrolet. We had a Chevrolet pickup.
So were you two friends then? Did you get together
Oh,
and go out in the town? What'd
we've
you do
known
back
each other
then?
forever.
Oh, yes. Well, we used to have potlucks all the time in the early days, and we were always at all the potlucks together. Yes.
Oh, you bet.
Okay, ladies.
We had the old crank phones on the walls, you know, with so many rings, and we had a certain ring that everybody knew that get on the phone, and we would say,
we call it. Two or three would answer.
Oh, we're going to have a potluck down at McGee Creek, or one at Nana Mac's, or one up at the tavern, or wherever we were going to have a potluck. Then everybody'd get busy and get something ready, and we'd all meet and have a lot of fun.
So there was a ring for everybody to get on the line.
Yes, it was just one ring.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We also had a fire ring too, and if there was a fire anywhere, we would all just button up and take our shovels and go to the fire.
I can't remember your name, but I remember your face.
Zishank. And we called our resort down at Crowley Lake Nan and Max. We had it 30 years before we sold it. I don't want to.
I gotta go and say hello to June.